Hello health buddies, does the idea of a wholesome bread recipe interest you? Well, then this sourdough bread recipe from India is for you. Heat 1/4 cup of water, add 1/4 cup of curd to the hot water. After removing from the flame, mix well and then add half cup of semolina to it. Mix well. Meanwhile, heat 1/4 cup of water, extra water. Now take 1 tablespoon of milk powder and mix with 1/4 cup of hot water, or if you don't have milk powder then you can take 1/4 cup of hot milk. Now mix it well and then add it to the semolina dough. The idea behind using milk and curd is to ensure lactic acid formation in the sourdough dough, because ideally acetic acid makes breads sour, so I was trying to increase the amount of lactic acid in this bread to make it less sour or mildly sour, and the bread turned out to be slightly sour. Mix with dough, and I have not used butter or ghee or oil in this recipe, but I suggest you to use at least 1 tablespoon of butter or ghee. Now add 1 cup, half cup plus 1/4 cup of whole wheat flour. Mix well, mix very well, and then let it rest for at least 10 minutes. Let the flours absorb the water. This is autolysis. Cover and let it rest for at least 10 minutes. You can keep it for at least 30 minutes like that. Mix and cover for 10 minutes. Autolysis helps improve the flavor of the bread. It helps in gluten formation as well. So after 10 minutes, it's time to knead it gently, and then we'll be adding the whole wheat sourdough starter that we have prepared at home. I have already shared the recipe of sourdough starter with whole wheat flour. Please check it above. And this time I have made slight difference in this starter. I have taken this is a 100% hydration starter, and we need 3 tablespoons of starter for this recipe. Even 2 tablespoons should work. So you can take even 2 tablespoons of starter here instead of 3, because we have already taken hot water. Now add half teaspoon of salt and 1 tablespoon of golden syrup or honey, whatever is handy. You can use maple syrup as well, or if you don't have either then you can use jaggery powder. 1 tablespoon of jaggery powder. You may top it with 1 tablespoon of normal water. I added just to ensure that the starter mixes well, but the dough got very loose. So even if you skip this 1 tablespoon of water here, the dough will be perfect. You don't need 1 tablespoon extra of water, but I worked with it. It was a very loose dough, but I was able to make sourdough whole wheat buns with it. So this was my first experiment with sourdough bread recipe with whole wheat flour, and this was an experiment and I am quite happy with the results, so I thought of sharing it with you all. So if you want to try this recipe you can, but make sure you add at least 1 tablespoon of ghee or butter or oil here, because I think that will make the bread slightly softer. So cover it for 1 hour and then start pulling from one side over another. Just pull the bread from all sides, just as is shown in the video. We are just trying to create some tension here, since it's very loose, so it will stick to your hands. So cover for 30 minutes and then after 30 minutes repeat the process. Pull it from all sides. This will help improve the texture of the bread as well. So repeat the process. Pull inside. I have used wet hands here, so keep pulling inside. So you can make this bread with solely with whole wheat flour as well, but then you may need to reduce the amount of water by 1/4 cup, because semolina, I have used coarse semolina, and coarse semolina absorbs a lot of water. So for a whole wheat only sourdough bread, you will need little less amount of water. But do experiment, because unless you experiment you won't learn, right? And this was my experiment, and I have learned a lot here. And what's better than fully simple, flavorful bread recipe, that too wholesome one, without chemical agents, right? So pull it from all sides. Do this for 7 to 8 times, and then again cover for 30 minutes, and then we'll need to repeat this process after 30 minutes. So all in all, this process will be repeated 3 times. Now sprinkle little flour. I sprinkled for easier handling of the dough, but ideally it is advised not to use any flour for kneading at this stage. However, I just wanted to make kneading slightly easier. Now cover for 2 hours. Our dough has risen. Now flour the surface, and we'll need to shape it. Look how fermented it is. It has fermented very well, and this dough was smelling so wonderfully well at this time. Fold the dough, lift one side over another, repeat 3 to 4 times. And now even at this stage you may use oil, ghee or butter instead of flour for easier handling of the dough, and that will make the dough elastic, more elastic as well. But I used flour again. So using flour here at this stage will give you a hard crust, and when the bread bakes, when the sourdough bread bakes, it may look like the top may look slightly rough, but when you cover it with a moist towel, you will get a shiny glow on your sourdough bread. Try to gently push and push and then pull towards you, push and then pull it towards you. This will again create tension in the bread, and you will get a good bread. Now cover it for 10 minutes, and then after 10 minutes grease a baking tray and dust with flour. And since I am using an air fry for baking my sourdough starter bread, I am using a stainless steel tray. If you want to bake a bread bun with this, use this shape as is and then score it gently. Else you may make bread buns, sourdough bread buns just like me. Take small equal sized balls, press them gently and then fold like a parcel from all sides. Press them gently and fold them like a parcel. Do it with whole of the dough. Okay, and then place them at a slight distance from each other, so that they will, when they spread, they don't push into each other, right? Okay, so cut into equal sizes, fold like a parcel, and then place on a baking tray, right? Cover for 1 hour, and after 1 hour they will be ready for baking. Preheat your oven, OTG, air fry, microwave to 180 degrees for 10 minutes. Brush with milk and sprinkle sesame seeds. This is optional, but it gives a good look. Now place a small container of water in the machine. Since I was using an air fryer, I have placed a rack above, and then place the baking tray as well. Cover and bake for 25 minutes first. Cover with a tray and then bake. After 25 minutes, remove the tray and bake again for at least 20 minutes. At this stage, you can brush the top with milk again. I didn't, but you should. Brush again and then bake for 5 minutes more. So in total it took around 50 minutes to bake the whole sourdough bread. Immediately cover with a moist towel. This will give you a golden top. Look at the color after covering with a moist towel. The next day they turned slightly hard, so I advise you to eat it the same day. I hope you like this recipe. If you do, please give it a thumbs up, like, share and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, take care, bye bye. And I have used whole wheat sourdough starter, so you can check the recipe link above. Take care, bye.